Just for somebody traveling on the path, what are the precautions one must take or one must be careful about?
Traveling on the path. If one is traveling on the path, what are the precautions to be taken? Now, the Sufis also call themselves travelers. Now, what do we normally do when we travel otherwise? Not on the path, but on our journeys to other places from home, or journey back from other places to the house. What precautions do we normally do? What do we do?
You make your reservations, you make your packing properly, you prepare for the trip.
You make sure that you are healthy, that you are not sick because you cannot travel. Make sure that you have the proper things required, and then you make sure that you have a goal and you know where to get down and where to get in. And you should reach in time for you to get into the train which is waiting for you. And you should know the details of where you are going and what you are going to do. Somebody has to know it, or you would have traveled once before. And these are all the different precautions that one takes. Nowadays, one also keeps contact with your home or office, so that if something happens, you get back, talk. These are the precautions that we know. Now this path is largely unexplored. Few have traveled on it. Very few have traveled on it. And of the few who have traveled, some have traveled to some distance, some have traveled a little more, and some perhaps have gone and come back. Now, when you set up your trip, what you normally do, nowadays what you do is go into Google search engine and find out where you are going and the details of it, because it is all there. Unfortunately, internet of those days, which has come in the form of scriptures, is a little too complicated to clearly understand what is being said. First, because the journey is a little more not complicated than these journeys. Secondly, the way they wrote it was meant for some and not meant for some, and so on. So that even to understand those directions, it is necessary for someone who knows what it is all about. I would say the safest one would be one who has gone and come back, because he knows the journey totally. Now, how on earth are we going to find out who has gone and come back? This is very difficult. So therefore, you take the general guidelines first. One of the things all have said is that you have to prepare yourself well, which means you have to be healthy in body and mind before you set out on this journey. And this journey is a journey into dimensions which are normally not accessible to our senses. Therefore, they are beyond the experience of the ordinary senses. And the sensory experiences are so attractive for the human being in general that very rarely does one who is fully involved in it ever want to journey out. So therefore, it is a good precondition that you have gone through life's experiences, seen it and said, this is it, beyond this I don't get, now let me go forward on this journey towards the other dimension. So this is the preparation. One is ready to embark upon the journey, having seen where you are and saying that I want to travel outside my house. I am only in my house. I have limited experiences, but these experiences are only confined to my own house. Let me go out and see what is in the outside world. Similar. That is one preparation. And if you set out, you need to be well equipped, because there are dangers on the way, like any other journey. One of the greatest dangers on this path is that at every station when you reach, sometimes there is one is inclined to think that one has reached the end of the journey. So it's a good idea to have someone who has traveled before, at least somewhere beyond where we are going, beyond what you have reached. So that he says, no, this is only a station. You have to go further. Don't get down and go away, because the train also will leave and you won't be able to come back home also. Quite possible. Now, many stations on the way are very attractive. So there is again the danger that one might get off the train and get attracted by the sights of the station and stay on there before the whistle is blown. So even your bags may be left in the train, and you may find it difficult even to go back home, leave alone reaching there. This danger I'll explain. You see, basically in this journey what is happening is you are refining your mind. You are going from the gross to the subtle and finally becoming quiet. It's not possible to jump suddenly from gross to, when I say gross, I am not talking in the bad way, please. Not gross means not some, when I say gross, it means again if you say lower level, it will appear as if it's not like that. From a more tangible level to almost intangible levels. This is the travel. So, what happens is in the process, as you go from the gross to the subtle, from the coarse to the finer, the mind begins to become extraordinarily attentive. Attentiveness is so important. Attention. Vipassana. Attention. So, when the mind becomes very, very, very attentive, then it automatically is very one-pointed, because it needs to be one-pointed to go into this. It can't afford to be distracted. These are some of the preparations of the journey. Now, what happens when the mind becomes like that is it is able to reach beyond the ordinary reaches of thought. It begins to move to such subtle regions that it's able to get experiences of dimensions which are hitherto unknown. Before the mind became so sharp and subtle. So, others who see this person will begin to think of this person as quite extraordinary, because he doesn't seem to function like an ordinary being. There's something extraordinary. If you sit with him for a while, just keep quiet and you want to ask something. Before you ask him, he'll say, so let's discuss this matter. Or you're going somewhere and things like that happen, which means a person begins to acquire certain capacities which are not available normally to distracted minds. Let's put it that way. Now this danger is that the consciousness having expanded to that levels which are more than ordinary, there is the danger that the person might begin to think that he has reached the end of the journey. Or he may be having certain visions and because he's going into deeper layers of consciousness. He may begin to have visions or begin to see things which normally cannot be seen. And there's the danger that he might think that now I have reached, this is the end of it. So for warning against that danger, it's a good idea to have a traveler, brother traveler, elder brother who has traveled a little bit and who knows. And he says, look, these dangers are there, so you be very careful. Or in a Sufi terminology, these are called muqams, stations. You reach each station and there are wonderful worlds opened up before you. Now it's likely that you get lost and the train goes off and you are neither there nor here. Consider them as stations with lot of plastic attractive things hanging. So these are some of the preparations which have to be made. The primary preparation is that your body is healthy. And therefore, mind is able to think, relax, work. It's very rarely that you see a healthy mind in an unhealthy body. Very rare. Unless already one has reached a healthy state of mind and then the body becomes sick, it is okay. Doesn't matter.